always remember when I did not understand how I used to stand under all the fool's rules running these lands. I had my head in the sand and I was asleep. Now I learn a little more every day and I'm waking the sheep. Gonna say it out loud, say it proud, get it out, cause I'm burning inside, cannot hide it no more. I'm a raconteur too. Yeah, I'm a raconteur too. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. All the people in the chat room singing. Oh, I'm a raconteur too. One more time now. Oh, I'm a raconteur too.
Good evening and welcome to Raconteurs News with me, the blithering, bumbling, imbecile Jason Holmes, who presents this show. It's just a few of the words that described me after on the comments on YouTube that I've had, but I'll try to speak the Queen's English very well as I can this evening and clear, because obviously you're a little bit not au fait with my regional accent. Good evening anyway. I hope you've had a good weekend. I certainly have. I've had a couple of days off, a couple of days where we've just gone away and relaxed. We went to Chapel St Leonard's. We rented a caravan for a couple of days just over there in Chapel St Leonard's. And we've had a lovely time. The weather was absolutely fantastic, to the point that my wife is now a blister. But I think that's probably due to her gingerness rather than anything else. But yes, she's suffering at the moment, and so we're getting through quite a lot of aloe vera. But we did have a good time. We were walking, walks along the front. Not me, I were in my obesicle. But we're walking. Going along the front, walking into Ingle Mells, having a drink or two, taking the dog for a walk. The problem is with the dog is he thinks he can eat everything. That if anybody goes anywhere near him, he's just trying to bite him and everything. So yeah, we have to keep him away from people. And we did actually buy a muzzle and pop it on for a while, but he weren't having that for very long, and somehow managed to get it off. But we've had a very enjoyable weekend. We caught some sun, a bit too much on the part of my wife, but it's been interesting. It's been very interesting, and I also got to use one of my. I've got some stories. Whenever somebody asks me what happened to my leg, I've got some. I sort of try and elaborate and make some up. And this weekend, I managed to get out that I was on a bouncy castle that was overinflated and it blew up, and it threw me 100 feet in the air, and I dropped down and smashed my leg, and it had to be cut off. So I don't know if they bought it or anything. I was just saying it with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek. But anyway, let's get on with tonight's show. We've got a guest that was on last week, and it ended rather controversially with the guest and somebody that I got on to co-host with me at Anne-Marie Carey at each other's throats, and then it sort of spilled over into Facebook and internet land afterwards, and accusations and counter accusations have been made and everything. Now, I want to point out that my problem with the whole thing was that the way that we were conducting the interview, we should have been allowing Shane to be able to give his information, and then everybody can do what they want with it. But it said that she didn't want to do that. But anyway, I've got no problem with Anne-Marie Carey's research. I know that she does all good stuff on 5G and what have you. But I just thought that we should have we should have this guest back so that he can tell us what his experiences have been in the last week, but also we can move on to some other stuff that we didn't get into last week, and also some new footage that's emerged, so a new news report that's emerged that I know that he's quite excited about. So without further ado, let's say hello to Shane Gibbs. Good evening, Shane. How are you doing, my friend? There we go.
Not bad, mate. Not bad at all. Let me just get rid of this thing. There you go. Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I've been a lot worse, put it that way.
Excellent, excellent. So,
a little bit of a delay on this, isn't there?
I think there might be. Yeah, I think there might be a bit of a delay. Perhaps if you disconnect and then reconnect, that might solve the problem. You know, like the switch it off and switch it on again sort of thing. So, how's about if we can try that?
Yeah, let's have a go at that, shall we? Because this delay's quite annoying, to be honest.
Okay, well, we'll try that. While Shane's just doing that, let's chat about what's going on in news. I mean, we've got Trump visiting, and you would have thought that we got Hitler visiting. It's just ridiculous. The pantomime that's playing out, and they're all involved in it. They're all playing their own little part, including Trump and Farage. And we've got a media at the moment that are so regressed back into childish reporting and childish name calling and pointing. That we've got a mayor of London that's involved with getting a big inflatable an inflatable baby with the head of a visiting leader, a state leader. He's head of state. Sorry, there we go. The president of the United States, and we've got this is just embarrassing for us. It's absolutely embarrassing. Whatever your thoughts are on him, and to be fair, I can't actually see all the stuff that he's done. I can't see what he's done so bad. You know, Obama were over here. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if there was a big baby of Obama above the an inflatable thing? I mean, it'd just be ridiculous. There'd be racism and anti, it'd just be a complete and utter fucking nightmare. Right, I think we've got Shane back. How you doing, Shane? Are you back? Is that any better?
Yeah, mate. It seems to. Well, I don't know. I'm tried yet. So say something, and I'll let you know.
Well, what about if I turn
it's definitely still a delay.
It's definitely a delay, isn't there? There's definitely a delay going on.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Let's just deal with it, mate, and crack.
All right, come on then. Just your experiences like this last week. Just talk us through what's been going on.
Well, I'd rather.
No, we're having trouble, aren't we? We're having trouble there, getting you, Shane. I really don't know what it is. It's probably we've probably got to find
what happened last week.
Say that again.
I don't know what's going on here, mate. This is really messing about, isn't it?
It is really messing about. It is really messing about. I'm sorry about this, people who are watching. You're watching Raconteurs News. We're trying to sort out these issues. Perhaps somebody's put a spell on us, a curse. Shane, what do you reckon?
I'll tell you what. You can't put it past these people. I did get some garlic and stuff out just in case. So I'm pretty much covered with that kind of voodoo-y type stuff that I'm sure all these people know full well about. You still there?
Yes, I'm still here, mate.
Hello?
Jace, turn off studio mode. I ain't got studio mode on.
Let me
have a look. Oh, bugger. There you go. You can see me again. My handsome face. Is it? No, it's on voice, mate. It's on voice. So we should be doing okay. I mean, I think we've just got a bit of a delay. This is turning out well.
It was the same last week. So. I'm sure all of them little girlies out there having a right old giggle to themselves, but let them crack on. It's not that what they did and what they're doing now is really of no concern to me whatsoever. It's not an issue. Doesn't bother me in this. Normal standard protocol, really, when you try and convince someone that they don't know what they think they know, especially when it comes down to the targeting. So yeah, I understand it went off and became a little bit of a a free-for-all, to be honest with you, especially through your comments. I put a couple of comments up, and that was about where I left it. Since then, I've had various people, various email links sent through to me that I haven't even bothered. I don't bother watching that shit because, I mean, I don't. If they want to be negative, let them remain negative. You know, I don't want none of that shit in my life. I have enough stuff to deal with without being dragged down by whatever they are. I'm not going to start chucking names and all that sort of stuff about. But yeah, she definitely got a bee in her bonnet, didn't she?
Yeah, well, certainly. I mean, over the weekend, I were getting a lot of messages, and to be fair, I just switched off, so I weren't. I were seeing them because I got your phone there, but I weren't responding to them. I weren't replying to them. I mean, there were all sorts of accusations being made against yourself. If anybody wants to look at them, then I'm sure you'll be able to find what accusations were made on social media.
I'm a gatekeeper for the TI community and a shield, and you know the standard bullshit that comes out of anyone's mouth that has got any, I don't know, contradiction, or to be honest with you, it was more an uneducated opinion because she had no idea about the targeting. All she was concerned about was fucking 5G and 5G this and 5G that, and what was it, Zionism and all. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not connected, because they probably are, and most certainly probably are. But I'm an activist for the TI community. You know, we've had another suicide in the past week, another woman who has been pushed to suicide. I mean, this is where my passion comes from. You know, it's not about putting fear porn everywhere. This is about human fucking life. Now, if somebody thinks that their information about another topic can overpower the loss of human life, they need to go and fucking smack themselves in the head, because it's mind-blowing. I don't understand some of these people. It's just, you just got to leave them to it. You know, see, the thing is with these people is I'll be in their sites this week, and then somebody else will say something truthful to them, and they'll get pissed off by somebody else next week. So they'll just carry on moving on as they do. They just like literally find someone and they just slag them. Then somebody else comes along and they slag. You know, it's a continual circle with these people, and very childish and very unprofessional, if you want my complete opinion. But you know, who am I? I'm just somebody who's trying to save human fucking life. Obviously 5G and fear porn's a lot more important to these people than life and death, which is quite bizarre. But
yeah. Well, like I say, I mean, I just hope that it all dies down. I just really can't be arsed with it. And I've been called all sorts of things.
I ain't got time for all this bullshit.
But what they don't understand is my skin is thicker than Lee Garrett, so I'm not really. They can say whatever they want. Most of the time, I don't even see it anyway. So because I try to avoid social media. Social media seems to have turned into this like sludgy, swampy place where
like a cesspit, cesspit full of slime bags, and it's getting worse. It is getting worse by the fucking week. It's just crazy. But I don't tend to spend too much time on social media. I do my YouTube stuff. I obviously I utilise Facebook as a bulletin board. To be honest with you, I very rarely, you know, I don't get involved with groups and chats, and I'm in a few. But I mean, I've been on Facebook, and I mean, there's something about Facebook that kind of draws you in and doesn't allow you to leave if you're not careful. It's quite strange, but it's definitely turned into a swamp full of swamp dwellers. So yeah, I tend to leave them to it and let them crack on and like I say, that they'll soon find somebody else to start slagging off and slandering. And I mean, see, this is what gets me with all of these fucking people is, I mean, purely out of, I don't know, a clash of topics and a clash of I don't know what I wanted to talk about and what I was asked to come on your show to talk about and what she was obviously so passionate about. But as soon as she gets upset, without any evidence, without anything to back up anything, I am a government shield, I'm a gatekeeper, I'm this, I'm that. You know, I've been called, I mean, name sticks and fucking stones. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They will never. The same as these people won't. They're pathetic. I mean, and it really annoys me how tunnel visioned they are. I mean, they come across all high and mighty, and oh yeah, I know this, and I've been researching for so many years, and blah blah. Try being a TI for over 2 decades. Try going speaking to that young woman's parents about the one who's just committed suicide because she couldn't handle her targeting anymore. That's real life. That's real.
What was? Do you know anything much about her? What was her story? How was she targeted?
This was an online targeting. This is another one that these trolls have pushed over the edge. I haven't. I mean, it's not 100% confirmed, but I've heard it numerous times on the grapevine, so to speak, and it doesn't surprise me. You know, this stuff goes on every week. You know, the lives are being lost every week. If it ain't through being pushed to take your own life through the targeting, it's something else. You know, it's just. I mean, it seems that people don't really hold any value to human life anymore. You know, it don't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. I mean, for years and years and years, like I said in last week's show, I mean, these people have been. Where have they been over the many years that hundreds, possibly thousands of TIs have been trying to publicise and trying to inform everybody out there about all of these frequencies, about all of these systems and military grade weaponry and microwave directed energy weapons and all of this stuff. All of the stuff now that people are slowly getting a little glimpse of because of the 5G. So where was they 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Why wasn't they listening then? Because it's all up to now, really, it's over the past couple of years since all this 5G's come out. It was all, they ignored us, they ignored the TI community, they either mocked, dismissed, or just thought we was a bunch of fucking idiots. Well, slowly, they're being proved wrong. I mean, like you mentioned at the beginning of this show, we've recently, in the past week, had ITV News document and report on gang stalking in Liverpool. Now, who's fucking delusional there? Is it ITV? Or is it the poor young lady that they highlighted and reported on? Maybe she's delusional. I don't know. Which one is it?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what gets me with these people. It's fucking wrong, Jay.
Listen, it's opposition for opposition's sake. I think that in many of these, because look, I don't know.
It's not opposition. There's no opposition at all. Do you know what I mean? They put these barriers there. You know, we've been open and honest and truthful to the public for years. There's no obstacles. There's no barrier. Effectively, they should have, all of these truthers and all of these so-called knowledgeable people. Why haven't they been helping expose the targeting program? Because people keep saying to me, "Oh yeah, 5G is important, Shane. 5G is important, Shane." If the targeting is highlighted and exposed, especially the electronical targeting, which is what we'll probably get into talking about a little bit later on today, now that could then educate so many people to then start chomping at the bit to prevent what's going to happen or what may happen, because it's all hypothetical. There's nothing in stone. I mean, it's a military grade weapon system. Yes, we all know that. Yes, it can hurt a human being. Yes, it can burn a hole through your fucking head if it wanted to. But it's hypothetical. It's a hypothetical theory. There's no. I mean, what's been going on with the targeting is real. This is real life stuff. not something that you read on an internet fucking forum or through a book about Zionism. Yeah, the world's a very evil place, and there's some disgustingly dark, evil people and organisations and associations in it. There's nothing we can do about that. But what we should be doing as good people, as good humans, is looking out for each other. Not fucking fighting and bickering. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I never start any of this with at any point. No, I'm not talking about Mrs. Get on off your fucking broomstick, but any state for anything over the years. I mean, I only defend. I would never instigate. Last week, I was creasing up. If anything, I was laughing at how pathetically childish these grown supposed adults were being. It fucking makes no sense. How the fuck can that we expect as targeted people any help or assistance or any even activism to come from closed-minded, tunnel-visioned tyrants? How come it's not? Because it's all about them. It's all about, oh yeah, I've been talking about this and I've been researching this and I know what you're talking about. I mean, it was like every opportunity that she had, it was in last week's show. It was like she turned it into a bit of a tit for tat, and I was just sitting there thinking, what the fuck is this woman doing? Maybe I should have took her place and become your co-presenter, and then we could have had a nice presentation about fucking 5G. That's the way it was. That's the way it was turning out. And everyone in the comments and all that, why didn't you kept speaking over her? You kept speaking over her. I was the fucking one giving the interview. Yeah. I was the one asked to come on. She was supposed to be the presenter, your co-presenter on the show. Ask questions, shut your mouth. Listen, learn. See, the good, and it's the same in sales. I've got a big history in sales. And one of the main things that you must do, and it's the same with being an interviewer, is knowing when to use that and knowing when to use them. It's not rocket science. But that definitely didn't happen last week. It was every time that I could just feel the confrontation from her. And it was just like, do you know what? This is not happening the way that it should be happening. Jay, I've been on your show prior to last week.
Yep.
And there was no instance of that when you and Webbo interviewed me last year or whenever it was. So what fell into that tiny little walnut fucking sized brain that made her think that she was then going to start debating me on stuff that was off topic? If this was a show, Shane Gibbs is going to come on and do an interview on 5G and Zionism and fucking Freemasonry and all of these other stuff, then yeah, fair enough. But he wasn't. Shane Gibbs, targeted survivor, coming on to talk about targeting. Now, what part of that is am I missing? Am I missing something there?
Well, not as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, look, from my point of view, I invited you on, and that was my beef. I didn't have a beef with your information. It's not my job to make a decision on whether I think somebody's telling truth. Or trying to pull the wolf over his eyes. My job is, well, my hobby, shall we call it, I don't get paid for it, but my hobby is and my part in all this is to ask questions so that people at home can then make up their own minds, people that are listening. So as far as I'm concerned, the 5G was not it was not on topic. The fact that I don't know what me and you were quite deep into a conversation, into a conversation about a certain subject. Can't think what it was, but I think we were a little bit disagreeing with each other. And then suddenly we've got the reading from the Book of the Elders of Zion, or some.
Yeah, but that's exactly the way it should be. I mean, like you said, that's the whole point of having these discussions, of having these interviews and putting it out to the fucking world. Is we're not going to agree on everything, but as adults, surely that's what the whole thing about debating is, isn't it? That's the whole thing about trying to speak about a topic that someone needs to be given a little bit more information on. And like you said, we was possibly having a conversation that was completely about what we should have been talking about, or maybe it was about Dickhead Flow Destroyer. I don't know. I can't remember. But as adults, we moved, and then all of a sudden we had this, and it was just like this fucking old hag just came in and started trying to dominate, and it was like, what the fuck is going on here? It's not a problem. I was a little bit disappointed in the way she conducted herself, and I was very, very disappointed in the way that she behaved. She behaved like a fucking child, especially after in the comments. And the first thing, she tagged me in on a post on her Facebook thing that I went on and liked and all that sort of stuff. And I looked after the show. I thought, let's go and have a little look, see what's going on. I don't trust him. He's a shill. He's this and he's that. Don't worry, girls. I'll tell you all about it later. Like it was some great big fucking conspiracy. I am completely open about me, who I am, what I've been through, and what I do to help others. And that doesn't include hypothetical fear porn, which a lot of this fight. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm not saying it's not going to be detrimental to the human population. What I'm saying is at the moment it's a hypothetical situation that people are assuming because it originates from military and this and that and the other. I mean, go and speak to somebody who's getting fucking done with V2K, mate. You want to talk about military grade technology? Go and have a chat with one of them in one of their groups on Facebook. You see, the realities of targeting, the real realities of targeting, would give you people nightmares.
It does.
Absolute nightmares. So, yeah, that's about all I've really got to say and really want to say about the whole pathetic situation.
It was a sorry situation. It's something I found myself right in the middle of. All I wanted to do was defend the way that my reasoning for doing the broadcast afterwards. And perhaps I could have handled it better, but that's the way that it went, and there's nothing I can do about that now. But
you're a nice guy. I mean, you've never. I mean, you've got some good people on. You do some good interviews, and people like you, Jay. Do you know what I mean? But she turned your show into something that it's never been. I mean, she turned it into some kind of, like, I don't know, like childish fucking school playground banter. It was crazy.
Well, we've got it up an hour anyway, so I think we'll probably move on from that, shall we? Let me just say hello to some of the people in the chat room. Peanut Man's in there, Super Leeds, Webster Report. Webster Report's in there. He's on. I think he's on a bit later on at 8 o'clock tonight. So just watch that. Watch the second hour of that after you've done here. He said he wants to know what Shane was targeted over again. Please, can you tell him just briefly? Just give us an overview.
My targeting, from as far as I'm aware, as far as my evidence shows, started in 1995 in a nightclub in Ashford, my hometown, when a drunken son of a Freemason tried to smash me over the head with a bottle.
Right.
I defended myself. And that's it. The shit show started from then. They fabricated fucking stories. I got arrested the following morning, sweeneyed out of my car. They ended up, the CPS was obviously, I don't know what the CPS was up to, but they actually allowed a Crown Court trial to go forward, where I was acquitted of all charges because I was telling the truth. And the video surveillance and the staff in the nightclub who gave evidence proved that I was telling the truth. That is the originating situation that has caused me to actually be on here speaking to you tonight about a topic that people definitely 100% need to start educating themselves on, because they're going to be seeing a lot more of it in the very near future, possibly in mainstream media, promoting and in a positive fashion stuff that we've been called delusional about for decades. All of a sudden, it's in mainstream media. Ooh, ITV News. Let's talk about gang stalking. Oh, this poor woman, she's being gang stalked. She's having to deal with street theatre. She's having to deal with worrying for her life. You know, she didn't. I mean, it's beyond crazy, mate. All this stuff. I mean, it really is. I mean, we've had all of it for years and years. You know, at the Vice documentary thing, all of them, the psychiatrists and the psychologists and all that are going, oh no, I mean, people don't get stalked. People don't get gang stalked. They're delusional. There's a global delusion going on. Well, a fucking ITV delusional then, or are they cushioning the topic out there because they know it's becoming very, very hard for the people that are doing it, or the people that should be addressing it, that have been ignoring it. It's getting too much for them to control and keep under and out of the view of the public. But now it's getting to such an extent. There's so many people, specifically here in the UK, that are coming forward saying, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. The targeting program is a very structured program. It runs in, you know, it's like a 15-step program, whatever. I mean, I'll just pick that number out of the air. And it runs the same for everyone. The gang stalking, the home invasions, the street theatre, the mobbing, everything that they mentioned on ITV last week. So I don't know which one of us, which group, which organisation is actually delusional, or is that the reason and the way that they have been keeping the targeting and the gang stalking undercover and under wraps is by claiming that everyone that claims that they're being targeted or gang stalked have got mental health problems. Now, that isn't what you saw on ITV. There was no mention of mental health problems. There was no mention of delusion. There was a true, honest story about a young woman who was being gang stalked and was in fear of her own life in her own community. So, I don't know, mate. I really don't know. I can see it. I mean, what I can see happening over the next year, possibly 2 years, is you're going to get more and more mainstream media picking up on the subject and the topic of targeting and gang stalking, etc., etc., etc. The electronic harassment, I think, is a little step too far for the public to take on board at the moment. I mean, even researchers that have been researching apparently for 15 years have got no fucking clue about it. So I doubt very much whether that will come into the public realm ever. But the targeting, the gang stalking, the home invasions, the disgusting stuff these people have been getting away with for decades will slowly start seeping in to the public realm, and everybody will see that all of us and everybody, the ones that have died, the whole community has been trying to tell the fucking truth, has been trying to warn, has been trying to alert the public, not only in this country but across the world. And it's been received with mockery, and it's been received with humiliation and dismissal. But they're not they're not dismissing it now, though, are they? That's the thing. That's the important thing. But you know, better late than never, I suppose.
As a phenomenon, I know you with the shut up. My missus behind me when I said phenomenon, and she obviously went. I know it's getting more mainstream coverage at the moment. Now, this woman in the
look, this is how mainstream it is, and we have got published authors around the world publishing books on stalking. This woman, Jane, she had to actually get this self-published because no publisher would touch it. And it was done. I think it was 7 or 8 years ago. But there's loads of. I mean, we've even got an author in this country who's a published author who has written books about her stalking experiences. But up to now, it's all been ignorance is bliss. But that time looks like it's coming to an end, which can only be a good thing for the targeted community. It can only be a good thing.
I don't think there's a danger that when the gang stalking thing does become mainstream, that it gets hijacked by celebrities, you know, this celebrity culture, and it'll be sort of like something that happens to them and not something that happens to ordinary people. But, you know, the story's still out there, but it's being controlled by the use of these Muppets or puppets or whatever you want to call them that get paid loads of money to pretend and you know, and do things and read silly fucking scripts that I could write a better fucking comedy script. In fact, I wrote one while I was asleep, and I will tell you that at the end of the show. I'll tell you that I actually wrote a comedy sketch. But you know, these celebrities. Do you think there's a danger that it could get hijacked and become something that people go, well, why? You know, why would you do it? I know that there's gang stalkers because they do, but why would someone do it to you because you're a nobody?
Well, why would they do it to that normal member of the British public, the woman on the ITV? She was no celebrity.
But what I'm saying is,
she's a member of the public.
That's what I mean. Now, what I'm saying is as more and more coverage it comes out, more and more it's covered in the mainstream, and more people are seeing it on the mainstream. Isn't there a danger that it will get hijacked by this celebrity culture thing that we've got on at the moment?
What I think will happen, and this is only my personal opinion, I think that once it gets to that degree where a lot of the members of the public are seeing it on mainstream media, I think that is when a lot of these truthers will hijack the whole topic and then be going and giving talks and conferences and speeches and all that sort of stuff. I think the real targeted people, the real victims of this domestic terrorism campaign, because that is basically what it is. It's domestic terrorism conducted by our own kind, our own people from our own country. You know, it makes no sense. But only time will tell. I mean, I'm not into hypothetical situations and all that sort of stuff. When something happens, then it happens. You know, I'm not going to start going, oh yeah, it's going to fucking do this and it's going to fucking do that, because I don't know. Simple. And I only talk from first-hand personal experience or factual evidence that proves truth. It's all about truth. Now, where's the fucking love and the fucking truth disappeared to in this world? It seems to have like disappeared. So I don't know.
It's not. It's been sold.
Pardon?
It's been sold like everything else. All the love and the good.
I think good. Right, I mean, I can't remember people being like this. Now, I'm not talking about fucking old Mrs. fucking Aggerty. I'm talking about normal I mean, you just go out into society. I mean, society it's not the way it used to be. I mean, I grew up. I mean, I had a great upbringing. You know, I grew up in a very poor family, but the love was there. You know, we used to go out and make camps and have. I mean, we had a whale of a time as kids. I mean, now you don't leave your kids out the back or the front for fear of some dirty pedo that's been moved in and given a fake name by the government, who's just moved in down the road next door to your family that's got half a dozen young children. I mean, you can't. Society has just been coerced and turned into this non-existence type. I don't know. It's weird. It's fucking weird. And surely I can't be the only one to actually see that. And we've got a tyrannical, unelected government that are doing all sorts of crazy shit, and are getting away with it. They're bickering. I mean, they bicker worse than that bunch of fucking moronic fucking idiots that were doing on your comment section last week. I mean, these are people that the public are supposed to have faith in to be able to control and look after. The country's being fucked, mate. This country is being fucked deliberately. And people like
I
Sorry,
was going to equate it to like a game of poker, but like a really stupid game of poker. You know, like you probably have Timmy Mallet playing poker and represent some, some idiot represent. But like America, they went right. Well, Trump, and we've. So then we've gone.
Even that. I mean, you mentioned Trump, right? Today on the radio at work, there was a news blast or whatever the fuck they want to call it, and it was talking about how Sadiq Khan and Donald Trump were basically personally embarrassing each other about their body types and about their hair and about how short they are, and blah blah blah. This is supposedly the most powerful man in the world who could destroy everyone at a push of a button, and yet they are bickering like fucking children. Where does that leave humanity, mate? Where does it leave us?
It doesn't. It's like went all in and said, "Here, we'll have a Trump," and then we said, "Well, we'll raise you a Boris." That's what it's like.
Yeah.
We'll raise even more. We'll go Boris. I mean, it's just it's just gone into. But that, you see, as a society, we value things that are worthless more than we do things that are actually of value. You know, just look at how many people look at all this shit on TV, and then you get on Facebook and it's a cesspool of people. You can see people on these bailiff groups and that, and they're crying out for help and stuff, and there are people helping them. It's just that this, it just seems that we're being dragged down, and social media reflects that.
Well, it's like, I mean, that it's part of the programming. It's part of the social engineering that's been in place for a long time. Probably, I don't know. I'm talking probably centuries, mate. This has been lined up and planned methodically for a long time by some very sick, dark, twisted, selfish and self-opinionated fucking, what do they call themselves? Elite. And there's nothing elite about these fucking people. Absolutely nothing. I mean, so what people get confused with, we all come in this world the same, and we all go out the same, with nothing, with the skin on our back. People like you and I, we lose a little bit of air, but we generally come in the same and go out the same. No matter how much money you've got, no matter what your views are, when you go, you go. But it's the bickering and the nastiness and everything else that feeds into this whole bigger picture, this whole shit show called the fucking humanity. It's just, we need to. I'll tell you what. Some us TIs need to go and find a nice. Let the world fucking crack on. Because it's not a nice. I mean, I feel sorry for the kids, mate. The young children that are going to have to grow up probably having microchips stuck in their fucking bodies to be able to buy a cup of coffee or get a sandwich. Literally linked up to fucking computer to brain interfaces, and it's like humanity as we once knew it is a thing of the past. Absolute thing of the past. I mean, there's no. The love has disappeared. The honor has disappeared. There's no honor anymore.
No,
it's like everyone's out for himself. So it's all about me, my.
That's the example we're set, though, isn't it? I mean, in society, we set that example. I mean, to get to the very top, you've got to really tread on some people, climb over some people, in fact. So this is what we're taught as a society.
The whole point is, why do you want to get to the top? Why do you want to do that? You can't fucking take it with you. I mean, and all of these people, oh yeah, we're landowners, we're this, and nobody owns the fucking land. Nobody owns the houses. Nobody owns, because when you die, you go with nothing. But the world has been turned into this selfish cesspit of nastiness and selfishness and greed, and I mean, it's just, and it's been done on purpose. It's been engineered that way. And I don't know. I mean, I don't claim to have the solution, but all I'm talking about is what I see. It's how I digest the world. It's how I digest the way that the social environment actually is, and it's literally getting darker and darker and darker. People are realizing. I mean, go out. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to have community parties out in the street and all that. I mean, but most people don't hardly even know their fucking next door neighbours these days. It's just been taken apart bit by bit by bit by bit. The division, the divide and conquer, the division of the traditional British way of life, the bulldog spirit. Where the fuck's that gone? Do you know what I mean? I mean, all my granddad and probably your granddad and your ancestors, they'd all be. I mean, they died so we could have freedom, so we could be free, and it has never been that way. It's been a continual shit show, and it's not stopping.
They fought for our freedom so that we could dress up as women and pretend that we're women. I think I might do it.
No, don't go down that road. Don't. Okay, let me give you my opinion. I mean, you are born a man or a woman, and you die a man or a woman. You cannot choose. You can pay, and you can have some kind of delusion that you are something else, and fair play to them. But come on, fucking hell! I mean, they're giving hormone replacement stuff to children. And I read an article a little while ago. I mean, there was like 30 children, all on this apparent autistic spectrum, from one school that had all been prescribed hormone blockers because they wanted to change the sex. These are fucking children. How can a child make that kind of decision? It's gone. It's beyond crazy. I mean, and I'm glad I've got no children. I'm so happy I've got no children, because when I'm done. I know I've done the right thing. I know I've helped where I could, but I mean, I know that I can sleep soundly knowing that I'm not going to be leaving children to face what is happening and what is to come. It's not a nice world anymore.
It's not, but I mean, there are some. There are, you know, when you say that the world's a different place. I mean, I fell over the other week outside our co-op. I caught my leg on the floor, so knee didn't stick. So then it just went, and I fell over. By the time I turned over and looked up, I'd got 3 or 4 people around me. You know, are you all right? And they wanted to pick me up and all that. So it is there, but it just seems that they're attempting to do it out. Yeah,
it's almost like people are being forced. Oh.
I'm losing you, mate. I'm losing you at the moment. I don't know
if anybody else. Get a little bit of a break up there, mate.
Yes. Okay. Well,
you keep freezing like it.
Yeah. So do you. So do you. You keep freezing. Everyone can hear us both.
I'll tell you what. I'm sure there's going to be some. I'm sure there's going to be some trolls that are going to be ripping content. So, how's that grab you?
Yeah, awesome, mate. Awesome.
You know what I mean? This is really wrong. You have to approach. I mean, I approach all this negative shit with humour, with laughter, because I mean these people. I mean they get so bitter and they get so real twisted. I mean, so the best thing to do is to fucking laugh at them. You know, chuck them and hit them with humour. Well, that then just drives them. It drives them fucking mad.
I put a Raconteurs news post out on the Facebook page, and I said that you were coming back on, and we'd be talking about all sorts of things, including witches. Now, people thought that that was a dig at Anne-Marie Carey, which it wasn't. It was actually to prompt me for to tell my favourite tennis joke, because Roland Garros was on, the French Open's on at the moment, and I'm
a tennis fan.
Yeah. So it was to prompt me to tell my favourite tennis joke, which is all tennis players are witches. Goran, even he's a witch. You have to be of a certain.
I assumed that you were slagging off and being nasty and negative about that. I'm not going to mention her name because she don't deserve it. But so they jump to conclusions, and this is what it's all about, especially with social media. I mean, social media has turned into an absolute cesspit for people that want to pick on people, that people want to belittle people, people want to just be horrid to other people, specifically if they don't agree with everything, every piece of shit that comes out of their mouth. That's what I'm finding, especially outside of the TI community. See, the good thing about what this conversation we're having now, and it's quite it's quite special for the targeted community, is that we are slowly breaking into the public realm. Whereas we, for years and years and years, we have been encased in and left and you know, yeah, they leave them down there. I mean, they'll be all right. They'll have their medication and they'll have this, that, and the other. But slowly, we're slowly seeping into the public domain and the public eye, and things are just. I mean, it shouldn't be about competition. We should all have one aim, and that is to be nice, to be good people, to be good fucking humans. That is obviously too much for so many people to actually even take on board, let alone understand. Now, I'm not going to sit here and dictate and this and that and the other. I'm just telling you how it is. This is how I see these people. I mean, there was no need for that last week. There was no need for them trolls to push that woman to suicide. There's no need for thousands of people to be targeted. And then to have the targeted people that have had to deal with some really horrible stuff, to then have to take a second lot of victimization from the public and from the people that you're trying to speak about, and from the people that you're trying to touch and trying to expose what's going on. But now it's all changing, and because the topic is coming out. I mean, 5 years ago, mate, there was like 3 or 4 groups on Facebook and a couple of websites. Now it's massive. The topic's huge.
So, how many groups would you say, the big groups? These what sort of numbers are you getting in these groups, these TI groups on Facebook?
I don't know about Facebook. I mean, there's some on there. You're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 people.
Right.
But in the actual activist groups, the real, you know, boots on the ground type thing over in America and Canada, where it's huge. I mean, you're looking at memberships of 10,000 plus per group, per association. I mean, there are tens, possibly hundreds of thousands of, and that's without the people that are too scared to come forward and talk about the situation that they found themselves in. Which I don't even want to think about that number.
Mm.
It's just, but like I say, slowly it's seeping out, it's leaking out, and I don't know whether that's on purpose, so they can then all go, oh, look what's been happening with these people. Oh, they've all been getting targeted, and they've all, oh my goodness, why hasn't nobody done anything about this? So that and that will come. That will come.
Yeah,
and there'll be a lot of humble pie being eaten, mate, when that does happen. I can guarantee you.
Yes, I mean, when you say that, and forgive me for being a little bit skeptical, but I just think that I don't know whether you're going to have the impact that you feel you're going to have, because I mean,
no, it's not an impact. It's not an impact. We're not looking for an impact. We're just looking for the targeting to stop. We're just looking for it to stop.
And what will that look like?
Pardon?
What will that look like? What will the targeting stopping? What will that look like?
Well, what will it look like?
Yeah, what will it? Yeah, what will it look like? What things? And what I'm trying to say is,
okay. Well, the way that I can see it, right? Slowly, it'll get seeked out, like it started to. The ice has been broken through ITV News, who didn't have a bad negative word to say about their whole report on gang stalking. So they are at 100% convinced gang stalking is a real thing. So that is then going to start feeding through into the public realm. There's going to everybody that sits down and watches ITV, which is probably 95% of the fucking population. They will all then start getting a small education or an amount of information about the gang stalking, about the targeting. That will then spread, and they will not be able to get away with it like they've been getting away with it. Because everyone in every community, in every town and every village and every city will be made and will have been made aware through mainstream media. So that is what I'm saying. That will be the end. Once that happens and that spreads through society, that is when the targeting will stop. That is when they will not be able to, as soon as you go out, break into your house and destroy your stuff and do all the disgusting things that they continue, and they're still doing now. I was speaking to a young single mother who's in London, and she as soon as she goes out, there is people going in there, they're moving stuff around, they're turning pictures upside down, and it's all to psychologically fuck her head up. Now, once the public is aware of this, that there is such a thing as gang stalking, look at the stalking figures alone. Let's forget gang stalking for a moment. Let's just look at standard stalking, one-on-one stalking, which is the only thing that has been recognised. Even that, people have been let down on. And police are failing to report on stalking. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to report on it. And people are being murdered due to their stalking not being addressed. We had one recently, a 19-year-old girl. She went to the police and reported her stalking 5 times. 5 times. On the 5th time, they gave her a fixed penalty fine of £90 and said, we're going to give you that fine because you're wasting police time. 2 weeks later, she was found not only butchered, cut to pieces like a fucking lump of meat, but also burnt. Her stalker butchered her and then set her alight to try and burn all the evidence. 2 weeks prior to that, she was fined for wasting police time. So can you see, how can people have faith in these so-called officers of the law that take an oath to protect and serve the general population of this country? They've turned into a bunch of gang members who are used and utilized for the establishment's guard dog. It's like they're their attack force. Go and do that. Go and take them children. Go and do this. Go and do that. What's happened to the police force? They're more like a militarized fucking army. Now that's another thing. Why have they been militarized? What are they worried about?
They're looking at they look after corporations. They don't look after public anymore. I don't think they ever did. Can I just ask you one question? Just want to go back a bit. To the ITV segment that you show. Now I've not seen the full segment, but I have.
Anybody, all they need to do is Google ITV News gang stalking, and you will get sheets and sheets and sheets.
Right. I wanted to ask you about the content of the video. What was the reason given for this stalking? Was it an ex, or was it?
The story they used was a disgruntled, I don't know, ex-boyfriend or whatever, who apparently the girl was like shunning his advances for her own reasons, and as the report went, this so-called ex-boyfriend got all of his mates involved, and all of his bunch of mates, several literally followed and harassed and bumped into this girl and literally petrified and terrified and terrorized her in her own community.
Right.
So there was a solicitor that says, yeah, this has been going on for a long time. You try and ask, you go into any one of the TI groups, the English TI groups, and ask them how many solicitors they've tried to contact to try and get assistance. And yet on this ITV thing, you've got a solicitor sitting there going, oh yeah, this is quite common. And I've got several of my clients that have been dealing with gang stalking that are on my books. And then then it moved over, it flipped over from the solicitor over to the psychologist. And the psychologist then starts talking about how they do and how they go about this. You must watch it. It's really, really, I mean, I understand how they're saying and what they're saying, because of obviously my experience and my first-hand knowledge. But I mean, the psychologist was talking about, yeah, they slander the victim in their own community to try and turn the community and get them on board. And this, I mean, this is exactly the way it happens. It all starts with a slander campaign against their chosen one that then gets people on board. I mean, they go up to them and say, oh, you see that bloke over there or that woman over there, she's a prostitute that has dealings with children, or they're a drug dealer, or they're some kind of horrible piece of shit. Now, normal members of the public, if they are told that or they are given that information and pointed in the direction that person over there, they generally jump on the bandwagon without even considering that they are being bullshitted to create a problem for that individual person that they've been targeted towards to harass and victimize and generally be a fucking piece of shit to.
Yeah.
All of these things are all in that. It was all in that report. I mean, it was so condensed, but it covered so many aspects of the targeting. It was just, I was sitting there and I was just like, it proper choked me up, Jay, because it was just like, we've never had anyone in the UK in mainstream media even dare. I mean, they will ignore it, they will dismiss it, or they will, like Vice did, make out potentially that everyone's a fucking nutbag. Now it's complete. Now it's turned completely on its head, and it's.
Hey, anyway,
it's a good thing.
Let's have a break, mate. Let's have a quick break. You go and have a waz or get yourself a drink or something like that. You're listening to Raconteurs News. You're watching us as well. We're in colour tonight. Somebody said that had blah blah blah. Mahat Malevolence said, what I'll do is I'll write a couple of these down, these questions that we're getting coming in, but people are complaining that I'm not asking them, and that's because I'm not seeing them because I'm fiddling and farting about. So we'll have a record.
You do as you're told.
We'll have a record. If you just mute your mic for me, Shane, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. Turn that off first so you can't see me. You don't want to really see me anyway. Of course you do.
I'm gonna have some fun with this one here. Woo-hoo! In the morning, when I wake up, all I want is Mary Joanna. In the evening, when I'm thinking, all I want is Mary Joanna. If you look in my eyes, you will see what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day. Oh my God, you know you better watch yourself because I know you're waiting on that one. Cause I'm telling you, guns and none. Cause you know the one I said, take a forever, you let me see you do the run. Run and the one that they clan and the one that done. Cause I know you can never me now what you wanna do. Cause I'm about to break it down, me, cause that's all cause you know you cannot train me now, let you wonder. You better back it down now because I'm telling you, rock bar, bun bar, cause I can wonder. Because you know you like the way you put that pick up. Cause I'm telling all your fools what I put up. And in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy. Now what you wanna do, and in a mercy. If you look in my eyes, you will see what I've done. Every minute, every hour of every day. But life is like a smoke. In the end, I'm gonna choke. So all I do is live my life from day to day. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, crease it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll it, poke it, roach it, smoke it, then you pass it to me.
Come on, baby girl, let's get it going on. I'ma hit the highway and do it my way. It ain't no game, girl, so I don't play games. I keep it up straight, like up in your face. So make your mind up, cause life's too short. I got the best on, boy, put your belt on. Stop acting all cool like Kanye West, boy. You be riding through the wire and the camera get on fire. You don't want that, no, I don't want that, no. This goes out to bring some chicks so slow. Hit the backseat when you're doing the licking, kissing, squeezing. Do the damn thing, man.
You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll along, and such it, smoke, marriage, you ass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll along, and such it, smoke, marriage, you ass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll along, and such it, smoke, marriage, you ass it to me. You got to lick it, stick it, bend it, press it, stack it, burn it, pack it, roll along, and such it, smoke, marriage, you ass it to me.
And welcome back to Raconteurs News in colour with me, the blithering, barely speak English Jason Holmes, the imbecile. I forgot the imbecile bit as well, which I particularly enjoyed. Thank you. It's such language. It's just not seen around anymore. At least they weren't text speaking that. So thank you for that. Imbecile is a particularly good one because it's quite difficult to spell, I would imagine. So well done. Kudos to you, sir. And I think he had quite a posh name as well. So maybe he's maybe to a point. Maybe I should get some elocution lessons or something. We've got Shane Gibbs with us tonight. Good evening, Shane. Thanks for coming back on, mate.
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Well, can I say that again? Sorry. Somebody called you an imbecile, or they called me an imbecile? That's quite polite, actually.
No, me an imbecile. Yes.
Really?
That's what I mean. I mean, you get this is what you get from Raconteurs News. You get polite insults. When you're on Raconteurs News, you'll get polite insults. That's just what we want. And listen, we've got a couple of questions in chat room. I don't know. I don't know how good.
Get these questions out of the way, mate.
Well, we had somebody in the chat room and asked, blah blah blah. Where was it? It was somewhere up here. Asked about the deaths from. How many targeted individuals have been murdered with documented confirmation? That's Mahatma Malevolence, who's a regular in the chat room. Good evening, Mahatma. What do you say to that?
Well, the whole targeting program is designed around it's a psychological destruction of the said victim. So they will psychologically harass, like they did that woman on the ITV. They will follow, they will harass in the street. They will constantly keep the target in fear, in the hope, which is not hope because it happens quite often and it has happened to many people that I knew, but now obviously don't because they're dead. They will keep pushing and pushing and pushing. They will blacklist the said person so they can't get work. They will be become an outcast of society. Basically, they want, and the result that they are looking for, there's generally 2 or 3 end results. The top of the tree would be for the individual to kill themselves. That then leaves nobody accountable. It leaves nobody accountable for what that person went through, how that person got to that stage, and what pushed that person to even contemplate doing that in the first place. That is the main goal of the targeting, is to push and push and push psychologically, so you destroy a person completely. They then kill themselves. It leaves nobody accountable. You'll either get that, or you go and speak about, especially a lot of people getting hit with microwave directed energy weapons that are causing burns and all sorts of nasty stuff on their bodies. It's all out there. People have just got to open their browser and Google with this stuff, or whatever browser they use. I keep saying Google. I never use Google. So they will then go and go to a hospital to go and get their injuries seen to, and say, well, I don't know where they're coming from, but I've got loads of problems going on, and this just happens, and it's because I'm being targeted. They will then send that person to the psych ward. They'll be evaluated. They will be given some fictitious, I don't know, schizophrenia, bipolar, whatever the names that these fucking morons come up with, and they will then be fucked on medication for the rest of their life. Or even worse, one of the main things they look for from men is a violent reaction. So they will continually push and push and push a man until he's out in the street and he's just literally gets to the point where he's like, "Rah!" So he then lashes out and retaliates against what the normal public would assume are normal everyday members of society. So that's generally the way that the final outcome and the reason why these suicides take place is because they have been psychologically and socially destroyed because of the targeting and the gang stalking. It's very clever. I say clever. I shouldn't say it's clever. Whoever thought up this whole thing is one sick fucking puppy, mate. But this is not a new thing. I mean, this form of victimization. It goes right the way back to the Jews and what the Nazis were doing in the wars. I mean, they literally turned whole communities of people into informants who literally gave up other humans so they could be murdered. I mean, that was called the brown shirts. I mean, this program has been in place in various different spectrums in various different parts of the world, and it's been going on under the noses of everybody for a long time. But now we've got the technical advances. You've got the 5G. You've got the directed energy weapons. You've got they call them non-lethal weaponry. It's classed as a no-touch torture program because they don't physically touch you. They just fuck your head up. So that's why it's one of the terms for it is a no-touch torture. I mean, you've got to watch that report. It will make so much sense to not only you, Jay, but to every person that hasn't actually come across this topic previously. I mean, that will just be like, what the fuck?
Well, that incident that you were talking about, the one on the ITV thing, that I will seek out and I will watch it. That was an incident of I saw bits of it that you showed on your video that you did last night, because I watched that after Anne Marie sent it me and we declared war. But anyway, whatever.
They'll probably dismiss the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing to them because they're too chomping at the bit. Oh, 5G and 5G and oh, 5G, and I mean that girl was like saying on that thing, on that report, and she was scared for her life. This is happening now. This is not a hypothetical situation.
Middle of a question and you interrupted me.
Sorry, mate.
No, listen, I'm in the middle of this question. The question is this: that case that was down to an ex-boyfriend. So he was getting other people to do his dirty work for him, I would imagine, and then she, you know, and she's fearing for her life because it's happening all the time, and he's got mates, and they're all doing things, and they're stalking him in that way. But what I wanted to ask you is, you know, when we're talking about these weapons that they've got, I mean, these have got to be pretty big companies, pretty big corporations to have that sort of technology. Now, is there a place like I can go, perhaps on the dark web, and say, look, I want somebody gang stalked, I want this done, and I want that done, and there are companies that will do that.
Okay, let me just give everybody a website to go and look at. It's called Schumer Tech. And what it specialises in, and it only sells to military and police, or if you've got some other kind of high up connection. And what they do is they sell what they class as revenge technology. I mean, you can go and buy, it's called Schumer Tech, SHOOMER tech.com. You can go and buy a small device. And I think the last time that I looked and referred to that website and that company, you can go for $69.99, you can go and buy a device that you put up against your neighbour's wall that will have them constantly vomiting and nauseous because of the frequency and the signal that it emits. $70. $70 fucking dollars. That's like less than 50 quid.
Schumer Tech. Let's have a look for that. See if I can find it. Schumer Tech.
It's either 00 or 10. It's either Shoma or Schumer. You know, it's a long time since I've looked at it. But this stuff is readily available online for people to buy. There are TED Talks of companies that manufacture directed sound and sound spectrum type technology for the military, for the police. I mean, they buy, and the bloke's laughing his head off. He's like, yeah, we can put a sound, or we can actually put a voice in somebody's head from at least a mile away, and he's laughing about it on TED Talks. And he's like, we can't keep up production fast enough because we sell these systems for $70,000, and every police force in America wants more than we can produce. I mean, this stuff's out there, and it's been out there for a long, long time. You found it?
No, I've not. No.
Show me Tech. Let me see if I can find it. That's unless it's come down, but I can't see that. I can't see that because they obviously make a very, very good living out of selling disgusting technology that harms people. Right, show me Tech. Oh yeah, Shoma Tech nasal nausea. Shoma Tech lock pick gun. Let's go with nasal nausea.
Nasal nausea.
Right. So if you type in your browser Shoma SHOMER-TEC, and you will get brought up all sorts of different reviews. We've got a Shoma Tech special ingredient nasal nausea, whatever the fuck that is, and you can actually buy it through Amazon.
Special ingredients: nasal nausea military, Amazon UK. Let's see what we've got in there. Let's see if we can make our neighbours spew up.
Military grade stink solution. Special ingredients: Sling Shoma Tech ingredients. Blah 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 blah. Shoma Tech. It's all there. It's all there. Let's type in Showmatech's website address.
Oh God, this is gross.
Showmatech.com. You found anything?
Yes, I found some on Amazon. It looks like some sort of ear, and it says it's under health and baby care, grooming, ear and nose care.
Yeah, look, there's the website. Showmatech. Everybody go and have a look at Showmatech. But please don't try and buy some of that shit, because I mean you'd just be as bad as what the people that are using it against innocent members of the public are. So we've got Showmatech, all products. Let's have a look at their all their products.
Ooh.
Mossad pen, peephole, covert coffee, covert this, covert that. It's just endless. It's just endless. I mean, there's product after product after product. There's sheets and sheets of products you can buy from Showmatech with the intent in harming somebody you don't like.
Wow, but then again, somebody might say that you can buy guns. No, obviously not here, but in America they can buy guns.
Yeah, but we're talking about directed energy weapons. We're talking about frequency devices that people can go and buy.
And I would imagine they're undetectable as well.
Well, yes, it's invisible, isn't it? You're not touching anybody. You just sending a frequency through to another human being that they're receiving it, and then it's causing the outcome of what the device is designed to do. I mean, this is like child's play, those stuff. You know what I mean? This is, you know, at home, security protect, police, etc. I mean, it's all there. I mean, people just got to go on there, and anybody should be disgusted at what they find on Showmatech speciality police and military equipment. There's loads of it, mate.
It is. It does seem a bit weird. But I mean, what's really the need for it? I mean, you could.
Well, basically, the reason that I've put this website up so everyone can see it is to give people a little idea that people are being affected by this shit. You could go and buy it and start making your next door neighbour puke his fucking guts up whenever you wanted for $70. It's a sick world out there, Jay. People are not aware. They are not, because it's been hidden. You would never have found that website, and you would never have thought that you could go and buy devices and sick shit like they sell, unless I've actually told you.
No,
you asked a question. I gave you the answer, and I even gave you a website where you can go and buy the shit.
Well, what about these? You know,
just before we move on, I mean, how does that make you feel, knowing that that is available?
Well, it doesn't make me feel. Oh, I know shit like that's out there. I know there's, you know, it's sick. It is sick. The whole thing is sick. The whole lot of it. But you know, we fucking. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if who is gonna think to do that? You've got to have some sort of
sick mind,
devious mind, and know that these things exist as well.
It's the narcissistic, psychopathic world that we actually live in. I mean, this world is satanic to the fucking max. You got these fucking churches and I mean, you got fucking. Don't start me on religion, but I mean the evil that has been allowed to progress and spread like a plague, like a cancer through humanity. It's just literally been left to its own devices, and it's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere. Look at the Catholic look at the Vatican and all these priests and what they're doing, and all of this other. It's just been allowed to continue and grow and affect and hurt and murder and kill. You know, that's not what the Creator wanted for this planet.
You cheered me up no end.
Yeah, but that's why. I mean, that's why. You know, getting back to the way that I utilize my humor, the way that I utilize, and I don't allow myself to be sucked in to all of these negative, nilly, fucking vanilla, whatever the fuck they are. because one, they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. Two, you can't start debating somebody that's had first-hand experience and knowledge and counseled endless hundreds and hundreds of people that are all going through the same thing. You can't have a debate with someone. You haven't even got the. I mean, you're not even the same spectrum. I mean, our knowledge banks and our information that we've got are on two different levels. I mean, you got this that you can read, and you got this that you can join a forum and you can do this and all. I'll tell you what, go onto my website and go and join my forum where my members are. That are all there because it's a safe environment that I've created for them. So they don't have to worry about being on Facebook. They don't have to worry about being slagged off by people who've got no knowledge and are very, very close-minded, or even psychopathic narcissists, which is probably a majority of the people. It will come out. People will slowly be educated on the topic. People and do you mean? I wonder how many dark people, and all you dark fuckers that are watching this video. I wonder how many of you go onto that website and try buy something right now, as we're having this interview. I bet there's a few. I bet there's a few.
Well, forums are not immune to trolls. I know that. I've got a huge.
No, they are when you've got trusted moderators in there that kick ass. Do you know?
They start going on the old freedom of speech, and you're censoring me and all that. And they start using. Look, just don't get me started. The right bunch of fucking.
The forum is part of the Targeted UK Association. I mean, it's only for targeted individuals.
How would people find that if they're a targeted individual? I mean, I'm sure there are people here.
www.targeteduk.com.
Targeted
UK.
UK.com. There you go. So if you're a targeted individual, what sort of other people? I wanted last time when you came on last time, and well, I didn't manage to get this in because I wanted to, but you did mention it earlier on in that interview. Do you have a lot of whistleblowers that come to you? You know, are there people that would class themselves as whistleblowers? I know you were talking earlier on about the how they will try to make you appear to be mad, or even just try to get you into the system with the appearance that what you're doing is mad. And because we had a surgeon who had a friend of ours is a surgeon, a friend of mine, Nadis, was a surgeon, and she was whistleblowing about some corruption that was going on above her, and she was doing it she was on it for a long time, and she really lost everything and ended up in a mental institution. I think it was just before Christmas, 2015 or 16 or 14 maybe it might have been. But
she was a highly intelligently and highly skilled individual.
Yep.
That saw wrongdoing and thought that it was down to her as a good human to try and expose and protect people from having to encounter whatever it was that she was whistleblowing on. So what have they done? What would you say they've done?
Well, that's what they did. What they did is because she was suspended, and then she were they managed to push her out, and she had tribunals. She went for unfair dismissal. She lost all these things, all these different things she lost because the people that were pulling the strings were the people who were benefiting from the corruption that was going on. And
of course, I mean, she's an ideal candidate for being targeted. The same as, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, look in the court. I mean, this used to be kept up within like the corporate diplomatic levels of society. You know, great big contracts that would be, I don't know, stolen from people by another fucking horrible fucker, and to get rid of that person, they would then put them onto the targeting list. So there's so many different. I mean, you upset someone, you piss someone off, you. For me, it was a case of I mean, it's got to come down to some kind of revenge, or I mean, I disrespected this master fucking Freemason, or whatever the fuck he wants to call himself. I mean, that's as easy as it can be. I mean, you upset someone, you say the wrong thing to someone, and boom, you could be chucked on the list, and you could end up like your next door neighbour, fucked.
Yeah, you see, I remember we were getting phone calls. I'm getting phone calls from her, which she was mostly in touch with Ada, but we're getting phone calls from her, and they got social workers were going round with police to section her and trying to get in. So we managed to get round and beat them off a couple of times, but in the end, they managed to get her.
Once you're marked, mate. Once you're marked. See, the good thing about me is, I mean, especially I've had a massive influence within my targeting from Kent County Constabulary, which is where I live. I live in Kent. I mean, I've got video car cam footage of a BMW police M5 or fucking whatever the fuck it is, patrol car, trying to run me into the central reservation of a motorway. Now, 2 weeks prior to that, I was poisoned and very nearly killed. Within an hour of me posting that video on my Facebook of that patrol car trying to run me into the central reservation, I had his chief inspector on my mobile phone apologising on behalf of his 2 officers. So, do you know what I mean? It's just, so basically what they've done with me is they've given me an element of protection. And I've been to Downing Street. I've got fucking correspondence from the Home Office, from the Prime Minister's office, from the IPCC, from the tribunal fucking idiots that have basically said, yeah, you could have charged and looked at and prosecuted the Kent County Constabulary, but you've left it too long, we're afraid, and you're out of time. I mean, you're like a loaf of bread. As soon as your date goes out in this country, in this system, if you don't do it in the right time, that then becomes null and void. So I've been around the houses. I've been down the official route. So, and that has gone nowhere, which is what I've said. I think I've said it in last week's email. I don't do this for me. I don't want to be doing this. No disrespect to you. I don't want to be sitting here having a conversation about this horrific stuff that's going on to so many people. But I am, and I do it because I can, because nobody else is doing it. There is very, very few people that, I mean, because they've taken my business that took me 20 years to build. They've taken my beautiful house that I renovated from top to scratch. They've taken my fancy sports cars and my corporate world that I used to dwell in. So there is nothing else. They've taken everything. They've nearly taken my life on more than one occasion. So what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sort of like withdraw from society and go, oh, okay, yeah, I can handle that? Or do I go, do you know what? What you're doing, what you've done to me, I don't give a shit about. But I do give a shit about what you're doing to all of these other innocent people that are going left unheard. That's why I try and bring the community together. I try and encourage the people that view my videos and the people that are subscribed to me because they are targeted. I try and instill some of the courage and some of the I mean, it's like they have their power drawn out of them through the targeting, and they just become these like empty shells of people that are just, they may as well be invisible. So I try and give these invisible, these voiceless people a voice.
A voice, certainly. And you listen, mate, you're doing a good job. Like I say, we're interested in is people who've got a message and people who've got information and experience. And we'll put you on there, and people can decide for themselves. I'm not really.
I'm not here to try and convince anybody. I'm not. All I'm trying to do is I tell the truth. Sometimes people can't handle that. Sometimes people get upset that, and it's like the old saying goes, Jay. the truth hurts, mate.
Yeah, of course.
And that's fact, and that will always, and nothing, that will never change. That will never change. But what I need to do, what my main goal and aim is to, one, save people's lives, stop the suicide, stop the deaths that are becoming as a result of the targeting, and to try and expose to the wider public, with help from people like yourself and your little fluffy dog there. I mean, you wouldn't, honestly. Do you mean some of the stuff that my dog passed away 2 years ago in September? They used to beat and terrorize my dog daily when I was out at work in his own home. I came home one day and his eye was almost hanging out of his fucking head.
And were you reporting these incidences?
Pardon?
We reporting these incidences.
Yeah, of course, and being laughed at when they came round, and I mean, when it all started going off. I mean, because the police. I mean, they've done some stuff to my younger brother, and I think it was because of because of what was going on with me. I mean, he was an ex-veteran, he was an ex-military man. I mean, and they put him on life support, but that's a whole complete different story. But I blame myself for that. I was reporting it until it got to the point where I realised that I was wasting my time, because after several officers attended on aggravated burglary reports, on theft reports, on damage reports, on all sorts of reports, they came around. You know what they did? They laughed in my fucking face, Jay. They laughed in my face. So it was at that point, it was like, to start with, it was like, oh, you need to get CCTV. So I'm like, do you know what? Fuck it. You know, let's spend £1,500 on CCTV, ones with like cameras that move and all that. You know, because I'm a bit of a gadget type fella. The day I had them all installed and all rigged up, I came home from work that evening to find every camera smashed and hanging from where it had been fixed. So I called the police again. This is in my own property. This is in the garden, in my home. I said, look at that. Look, and they laughed in my fucking face. So how am I supposed to react to that? How am I supposed to have any faith? And in the what should be being protected and looked after, and all of that stuff shouldn't go on. And yet I've seen it with my own eyes. These police officers are fucking evil, mate.
So you know when you had put all your cameras up and then they were all smashed, I'm assuming that there was footage of that had been recorded. I'm
assuming there was too, but there was never nothing that was visible. It was all like the SD cards in because I've got a standalone stuff. I didn't want Wi-Fi connected and all that sort of thing. So the SD cards were all corrupted, and the Swan system that I had that was quite expensive went through into underneath in a unit in the front room, and the monitors and recording stuff was all there. It was all just fucking corrupt. It was all corrupted, and you couldn't. It showed there was files, but when you clicked on the files to open the files were nothing. I mean, these people have got technology at their disposal that the people don't even. I probably don't even know about. I mean, that's what annoys me with all of this 5G stuff. I mean, you want to talk military grade weaponry, you want to talk high, top secret military grade weapon systems. Targeted individuals have been dealing and coping quite well, some of them, with them kind of attacks from that form of technology for many, many years. So, like I say, I'm not going to dismiss the whole 5G thing, because it's something that you need to be concerned about. But I'm all about saving people's lives, mate. I've got to stop, if I can, as many people from taking their own life and being pushed to taking their own life by these fucking animals, as many as I can. I've got no choice.
Instead of SD cards now.
Pardon?
Don't you? We should put regular videos and add videotapes in instead of SD cards, so they couldn't have been corrupted.
I think you're missing the point. I mean, they was coming into my home at will, at their leisure. Sometimes when I was asleep in my bed, and I've got audio recordings that blatantly show, and not show, but you can hear several people coming through from next door, lowering the aluminium loft ladder, and coming into my house in the early hours of the morning when I'm asleep in bed. Now that carries a 15-year aggravated burglary charge or sentence. Why? I mean, how and why were these people being allowed to get away with doing this stuff?
I've just what I'm struggling with. I mean, you've put all this back to an incident we had, the son of a Freemason, 20 years ago.
It was a little sleepy market town, and you would not think that anything goes on there apart from sheep getting sold in the market and cows being sold.
But what I'm saying is, if this is being orchestrated by them, it must be costing them a fortune. I mean, for 20 years to be doing this, and and having people going into people's house, because I certainly wouldn't be breaking into somebody's house, on cheap. I'd be wanting paid well. I just don't. That's just something that I'm struggling with. You understand that?
Yeah, because you're a decent human. You're a good human. You might have your flaws, but you've got a good heart. I can tell. And there's a lot of people that there are some sick and twisted fucking people out there, and you've only just got to open the fucking newspaper or turn on the telly. Everything is evil this, negative that, murder this, murder that, poverty this, paedophilia that. The world's full of it. It's not just the targeting is a small speck in the bigger picture. The bigger picture of the way that humanity is being coerced and programmed to behave in a certain fashion and react in a certain fashion, because that is the way that it's been structured. It's social engineering. This is not a new concept. I mean, look at what they're doing in China with the social credit scoring system. There's some real messes going on over there. Now, India is another big hotspot. I mean, it's literally spreading all over the place. And
well, India did that, didn't they? Where they disbanded the largest denomination note.
That's right, the rupee. Yeah. I spent some time in India, and I'll tell you what, they are the normal Indian people, the street level like us. They are the most beautiful, amazing human beings that you could ever wish to come across, and they have got nothing. And they will give you whatever they have got. They will willingly give it to you if you needed it. If the old world was like that, mate, then it would be a darn sight nicer place.
It would be a damn sight damn sight nicer place. Nicer fucking place. Is
there any more questions? Because I've got a full spectrum of information that people need to tap into, but hopefully that satisfied that gentleman's question. I can elaborate further if he wants, but I'm pretty much certain that covered the answer that he was looking for.
I can't even remember what question were. It was that long ago. I'm just having a look in. We've got quite a few new people. Some people, understandably, there are people that are criticising and want to know if you've got any documented evidence, research papers and that sort of thing to do with gang stalking. I'm sure there is
research papers. No, I don't read about this stuff. I deal with this stuff. I don't read on an internet. I don't read out of a book. This is coming from human to human experiences. Okay, if you want a book, there you go. There's a book. All you bookworms out there, I'm sure your presenter last week will find this very interesting. It's all about stalking. It's all about gang stalking. It's called No Ordinary Stalker. I'm sure you can still get it on Amazon. There's another one. Dr. John Hall has written 2 books on the whole targeting concept. Guinea pigs is one of them. I don't know what the other one is, but just look up Dr. John Hall. Then you've got Dr. Robert Duncan, who actually worked for the American government, actually helping invent and build these electronic devices that do this shit to people. He's got a book called Project Soulcatcher. For all you little bookworms out there, if you need to read something, if the word of a truth teller is too much for you to take on board, there's plenty of books on the topic. There is many books on the topic. So fill your boots. It's not about research papers. It's not about reading it off. They have that question just sums up the mentality. If you don't read it, it ain't fucking real. If you don't see it on your telly, it ain't real. Well, actually, no, you are seeing it on your telly.
Yeah.
You ain't hopping off, are you?
No, sorry. I was just I was just turning the light on.
Well, mate, I was taking the piss.
Because I was getting. I've got this new light switch. It sounds like a can of lager opening. Ready? I'm just going to switch to light on now. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's still these people out there. Where's your research? Do you want me to show you the video of the patrol car trying to run me into the central reservation of a fucking motorway? Go and have a look at my YouTube channel. There's 124 videos that I've produced, not only exposing and talking about my experiences, but also showing factual evidence. I'll get the paperwork. I'll get you the Prime Minister's letter out that says, well, we're really sorry to hear about what you've been going through, but we don't deal with that. We'll pass you to the Home Office. And then the Home Office says, oh, well, we don't deal with that. We'll pass you to that organisation. If you want to do research, do fucking research. Don't start chomping at the bit and start saying, well, where's your this and where's your that? If you're that fucking clever, if you're that needy, go and do your research. It's all out there. I mean, don't come to me and start going, where's your proof and where's your... I mean, it's all there. It's all there. You know,
so on your YouTube channel, there's evidence that you've documented. On your YouTube channel,
evidence. You know what? I was even arrested for stealing my own car at one point. Honestly, and I've got the bail sheet to prove it. They took my car from me. They kept it for a year and get in the pound and gave it back to me a year later with the windows open, full of water and mold. Useless, worthless. I mean, I've got the bail sheets to prove it. It's all there. I've got fucking folders of it. But I'm not going to start putting it out on here. Go and research, you researchers. Go and read. Go and watch. It's all there. It's all. I mean, it's called a YouTube channel. You can see documented evidence. You can see video footage. You can see all of the stuff that I've been talking about today. I'm not going to bring it up here. It's there. It's done. It's all there. Now, that decision is ultimately down to the person that has asked that question. Whether they feel, I don't know, whether they feel that they shouldn't have to go and do that. I don't give a shit. They're part of the problem.
Yeah, I'd say it's like somebody telling you that they're hungry, and you tell them where the pantry is, but they want you to go and get it for them. Yeah,
they want you to fucking spoon feed it into their fucking mouth room. I mean, I've been going through this for years. Not only have I been over 20 years. I mean, they all started like with home break-ins. I woke up one morning and my car had been covered in paint stripper, and you know, it's endless. All of that information is all on the internet. It's all on my YouTube channel. So I mean, how much more evidence, how much more knowledge do people need to be convinced, not of my story, of the existence of what I am trying to expose? How much knowledge, how much more do they need? Can I, mate?
They want it all, I think. Every single bit that you've got.
Go and fucking look at it then. It's all up there.
It's all,
It's all live and published, open to the public view.
it's well, if you say it's there, I mean, it's there. Look, at all I'm doing is I'm just asking what people are asking in chat room. I've been the victim. Well, the victim. I don't like that word, but you know, I've been gang stalked, shall we say?
Yeah, but what I am seeing over the past several months is I'm seeing, and I've seen it evolve from rude, cheeky idiots into a collaborated collection of people that have become a bunch of targeting fucking idiots that are going and doing a form of targeting online through YouTube, through social media, etc., etc. And it's literally it's the online version of the real life version. Believe it or not, I don't honestly, it doesn't matter to me whether people choose to believe it or not. If you are not willing to actually go and look into the topic, how many people, you mean I showed you a website earlier on where you can go and buy a device for $70 fucking, and I can put it on my, if I live next door to you, you would be throwing your ring up and nauseous all the time that button was pushed on the on. But yeah, but this stuff don't exist. It's all in your mind. You're all mental. I tell you what, we're lucky. We are the lucky ones because we know what is coming, what we've experienced, and we have been educated to some degree, not in the right way, because I mean, no one should be tortured, no one should be humiliated and blacklisted and segregated from society. I mean, you look at what happened. I mean, I've got nothing against homosexuals and gays and all that sort of stuff. In 1953, you would have gone to prison for being gay. They had their own little community. They had their own little. But look at it now. That's the process that the targeted community is going to blossom into. Mark my words. I guarantee it. We've been hid away from society, sort of ridiculed and mocked and humiliated, the same as the gay community were back then. And slowly it became common knowledge. It became acceptable. It became, it's okay to talk about that. It's okay to be that. You can be gay. You can be this. You can be with someone of the same sex and all that sort of stuff. But at one point, you would have been strung up. True or not true?
Yeah, of course you would have. Yeah, of course you would have. That's what happened. Yeah, it's
Oh yeah, of course. But look at it now. I mean, you're getting little kids that are getting their bits and pieces chopped off and turned into some kind of mutant. I mean, so that's gone. It's gone a little bit too far. But that is where the targeted community is where the gay community was back in the 1940s and the 1950s. Hidden away, segregated away, out of sight, out of mind. But now slowly, the topic's encroaching into the public realm.
And the ITV thing was a huge step, I would imagine.
Massive, but especially for the UK targeted community, because we've never had the topic addressed. I mean, in America, I mean, there's been a couple of Washington Post articles in the news and all that sort of stuff. But if you go onto YouTube, I mean, you will have news stations talking and highlighting cases like that ITV did last week. I mean, talking and literally coming up and getting involved and believing and documenting and publicising the fact that this stuff is real. This stuff is going on. But over here in the UK, not only do we have an element of society that have got their own agenda, and if people want to admit it or not, there are too many fucking egotistic fucking nutbags out there that think that they are the fucking shit, when in reality they're part of the problem. Now, if you want to be part of the problem, that's fine. That's nothing. I don't want nothing to do with that. If you want to be part of the solution, then yeah, I'll be open and I'll have a chat with you.
But like we have tonight.
Like we have tonight. Like we have tonight. And I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed this show tonight, because we've both, I mean, you've hit me and not hit me, but you've sort of like asked questions, and then you've had your own stuff that you weren't allowed to, or you didn't have a chance to speak and ask me about last week, because the show was hijacked. It was ambushed. But this week we've had the opportunity to not only for hopefully satisfy questions and queries that you personally had, but we've also been allowed to answer and debate and talk about questions and answers that some of your followers in your chat room have put to you. Now, this is the way that it should be. This is a healthy conversation about a very serious topic. A very, very serious topic. Now, why couldn't this have taken place with that third party last week? I'll tell you why. Because she's got a fucking ego fucking problem. She's got a few followers and she thinks that she's fucking high and mighty. End of story. I come across people like her all the time. She's not the first, and she most certainly won't be the last. But they have no place. I don't give them no place. They get dismissed because that's all they deserve. You mean anybody that's got a fucking egotistic issue and are utilising a topic for their own agenda? What's she looking for? Fame, donations, subscribers, viewers? I don't give a fuck how many subscribers I've got. I don't give a fuck how many views I get. But look at my channel. My channel it's been up less than 2 years. I've got a large following. I've got in my opinion, I've got a lot of people that have come on and found me. I've got lots of people that are non-targeted that follow me and communicate with me on a regular basis. It's over 3,000 subs on my YouTube channel, and I haven't asked for them. I don't choose. I can't sub people, but I'll tell you what is happening. I am getting a lot of my old subscribers that are coming through and emailing me saying, Shane, I'm not subscribed to your channel anymore. And I'm like, well, I don't. I can't do anything. It's nothing to do with me. But subscribers are being unsubscribed.
Yeah, from it's YouTube, isn't it? And all the fuckery that they do, and the.
To me, it doesn't matter how many people view it. It doesn't matter. If I can reach one person and assist one person, that is enough. But I'm not. I'm reaching more. There's a lot of people have faith and know that I'm being truthful and honest, and they also know that I can help them because of the experience and the knowledge that I've gained through being a fucking torture victim. That's hard to take on board for a lot of people. Now, that's not my problem. That's not my fault.
Listen, you've got your story and you've got to tell it tonight as well. So, listen, a big thanks for coming on, Shane. It's targeteduk.com. There's a forum there, I think, as well as a website, and you can see all Shane's information. I'm sure you'll be able to find his YouTube channel as well. We'll put a link to it in the description here. Anyway, listen, we're done for tonight, Shane. I had look, I'm going to tell this story anyway, right? I'm going to tell this story while I've been away. Now, I've got this. My foot's been my foot that's actually a real foot. I've been having a few problems with it recently, and it's been a little bit. I've been having a bit of anxiety about it, because I've had a purple toe, and but things are starting to get better. I think.
Did this stem from like diabetes or anything?
No, it's antiphospholipid syndrome, but that's another story.
Oh, okay. No, 'cause my uncle had a double amputation 18 months ago, both his legs off through diabetes, or not dealing with it.
A number of people do, yeah. It's very common. But anyway, I got this. I'm looking and I'm thinking. I'm starting to worry, but I think what it was that my big toenail had started scratching it, and I think it had just irritated it and made it all bruised and funny. So anyway, things are better now, and I'm not in as much pain. But I was having some anxiety about it. Now I had this dream. Right? And here's my dream. I had a dream, and this was the most fucking surreal dream. And I'm going to tell you as much as I can remember about it. So I have this dream, and I'm back in the hospital ward where I had my leg amputated last year, right? And there's a guy in the next bed, and he's got both his legs, and he's sort of laid in the next bed. Then another guy comes along who's got two stumps in a wheelchair, and he comes up and he says to the bloke, it was almost as if it had gone from an amputation and it had sort of drifted into a maternity ward, because the guy in the wheelchair says, "Is it your first time?" And the bloke in the bed next to me said, "Yes, it's my first time. It's my first time." He says, I could tell. You usually can tell because you've got two legs. He says, so do you know what you're having? Left or right? And he goes, oh, well, we didn't want, because we being my first one, we didn't want to know. We thought it might be good to have a bit of a surprise. You know what I mean? And because it's first one, so we don't know, so it's going to be a surprise when I come out of surgery and everything. So he said, but it does. It sort of makes things a little bit more difficult. Like I said to myself before I came, do I take my left slipper or do I take my right slipper? And he says, it confused. And he goes, yeah, well, people do get confused. He says, it's all right. I've just had my second. And I knew what it were going to be, because it's second one. First one, you like to have a bit of a surprise, but he says that second one, we knew, we wanted to know beforehand. So and it was just like this weird dream that I had, and it was so
that's definitely a wacky dream, mate.
I was right back there. It was like I'd written this comedy in my head. It was just, oh, you do left slipper or right slipper, or are you having, what are you having, a left or a right? Well, we don't know. We didn't want to know. We're being first one, and it was just utter nonsense that goes on.
Quickly before we go, can I just remind everyone about the International Targeted Individual Day protest that's coming up on the 29th of August? That will be outside the Broadcasting House, BBC Broadcasting House in London, from 2 p.m. onwards to early, probably half a dozen hours. It's an international event. Right. There's going to be protests taking place all around the globe. And now this year, we're going to have one here. So that will be on the 29th of August, a couple of months away. Anybody, targeted or not, we're putting a lot of organisation. We're getting a lot of. I got sent the backdrop for the protest, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be an eye-opening event, and the biggest probably gathering of targeted people protesting about being stalked and gang stalked and targeted, that the UK has seen to date. So anybody that can make it, please come along. Feel free to come along, and I look forward to meeting anyone and everyone there. So just thought I'd get that in before we finished off the show, mate.
We should have got that in earlier, shouldn't we, really? It's quite important. So it's 29th of August, did you say? 29th
of August from 2 p.m. outside Broadcasting House in London.
Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so listen, thanks, mate. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for agreeing to come back after last time.
It's a pleasure. It's been a pleasure this week. I've really enjoyed the show, mate.
Yeah, thank you, and a big thank you to the moderators, the new moderators tonight, who I know have been busy in the chat room.
Well, fucking busy. I bet they've been run off their feet.
That's what I mean. We employed 4 last week, so we've got 4 or 5, I think. Anyway, but they're in.
I can almost feel the frustration of these little trolly, witchy type, nasty people. Like they must be foaming at the mouth, going, look at their screens, going. Do you know what? Fuck them. If they are that close-minded, then they are no good to us, and they are no good to anybody else. So move on and go and find something else to go and chomp at the bit at.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thanks very much to everybody for listening tonight, and thanks to you again, Shane. Thanks to
You're more than welcome, mate.
For walking around. Listen, I've put a link in the chat room. Go and watch Webby. He's going to have another hour with, I'm assuming he's going to have another hour with Max Egan, but he's on at the moment. So go on. I've put a link into the chat room. Go and see Webby. It's his first show, so I'm sure he'll appreciate the support.
What's his channel called, mate?
The Webster Report. The Webster
Report. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, get subscribed to it as well. Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We don't care as long as we're getting your attention. I'll be back sometime this week with another show. I'm thinking about getting Super Leagues on. He's offered. Now I know this is a little bit like playing Russian roulette, but he's informed me that he's sober. So what I might do is I might see. Get organise a bit of a round table between some of the regular listeners this week. I think that might be nice if we've got 2 or 3 of regular listeners that want to come on, and we could have a bit of a round table chat and do something. So look out for that. It's going to be on this week. There'll be definitely something else on this week. So peace. Don't do a racism.